This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Today's video is brought to you by Private Internet Access. Let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. Yesterday, there was an ad played. An ad on its face that was ostensibly a good and decent message for us to love one another, to accept one another. Many of the philosophies of Jesus were great, admirable, things we should aspire to, absolutely. But I want you to be cognizant of, I want you to follow the money here. I want you to be aware of who is funding this particular ad. And then I want to talk about the pernicious hypocrisy of Christo-fascism in America, of Republican politics in America, of conservatism as a larger umbrella in America. Because if on its face they were actually preaching this message of loving those who hate you, of praying for those who persecute you, then that would be wonderful. But that is not the case. The money behind this ad comes directly from the Hobby Lobby guy, the bigot who runs Hobby Lobby, the man who didn't want to pay for contraception, not abortions, contraception for his employees. And because of a 5-4 Supreme Court ruling, got his way. The same man who wants to pull back LGBTQ rights in this country, who wants to have himself the right to discriminate against gay and trans Americans, and wants to do it under the color of law. So I'm going to play the ad, then I'm going to read a little bit about who's involved here, and let's talk about it. But before we do, a word from today's sponsor, Private Internet Access. One of the earliest things we learn is to look both ways before stepping out into the street. Do you realize that logging in online puts you at a similar risk of collision with the bad drivers of the internet? They call it the information superhighway, after all. See what I did there? You need help getting across the road. Let Private Internet Access be your eyes and ears as you step into internet traffic. Private Internet Access is the industry-leading virtual private network with over 30 million downloads. Private Internet Access encrypts your internet connection, shielding your passwords, personal info, and private messages, while also blocking ads, trackers, and malicious websites. Head to piavpn.com/Dollemore to access an 83% discount on Private Internet Access, plus 4 extra months for free. This means full surfing security for just over $2 per month. With a no logs policy that has been proven in court multiple times, Private Internet Access won't store any of your data. Their security and anonymity are available to you on all platforms, Windows, Mac, Android, and more. Also, you can use up to 10 devices on a single subscription. And with a 30-day money-back guarantee, you really know that you're crossing this road risk-free. With 50 servers in 50 states, PIA is your crossing guard from coast to coast. Oh, you're in Albania? Well, since they have servers in 83 countries, Private Internet Access can protect you there too. Green light means go to piavpn.com/Dollemore now to access an 83% discount on Private Internet Access, plus 4 extra months free. Top of the line internet protection for just $2.03 per month. Like a giant flashing stop sign at every corner of the internet, Private Internet Access is there to keep you safe online. So here's the ad. If you didn't watch the big game, since Super Bowl is trademarked, whatever. If you didn't watch the Super Bowl yesterday, or you haven't seen this ad, this was the ad that played, and then let's talk about the money behind it. All right, well, apart from the fact that I don't believe Jesus needs an advertising campaign, if you truly believe that Jesus, the Christ, is the Son of God, the Son of the Creator of all seen and unseen, he probably doesn't need a 1-minute Super Bowl commercial. I think we can probably agree on that. He's not McDonald's. He's not Burger King. He's not M&M's or Dodge or Chevy. But let's talk about who funded this and what they stand for. I'm going to read a little bit from this AP article. Super Bowl ad will tout Jesus gets us to the masses. The He Gets Us campaign, which was launched in March 2022, is funded by Hobby Lobby CEO David Green and other anonymous donors. The ads direct people to a website where they can learn about Jesus, find Bible reading plans, and connect with people online or in person who can answer their questions. Super Bowl ads draw enormous attention, sometimes too much, so any company or organization considering spending $6.5 million for 30 seconds of airtime needs to weigh the pros and cons, experts say. That seems a little on the nose. Rather than spending $6.5 million for just a few seconds of time during a Super Bowl ad, you might be able to actually feed the hungry, relieve the suffering of the poor, attend to the matters that Jesus preached and taught. For me, though, it's the hypocrisy of this entire thing. Again, Hobby Lobby wanting protection under the law to discriminate against LGBTQ people, that wants to be able to not fund health insurance benefits that provide for contraception, not abortion, contraception. Abortion would be bad enough, but they don't even want to pay for birth control because it's against their deeply held religious beliefs. Hobby Lobby that's just got prosecuted for smuggling tens of thousands, I think it's tens of thousands, it might be just thousands, of rare ancient antiquities from Iraq, and then had to dial back their claims that their section of the Dead Sea Scrolls were real, when in fact they were all fraudulent. But Hobby Lobby and this Green character are pernicious bigots in our society. And for him to fund an ad that talks about Jesus gets us, he gets all of us, and not to hate those who differ from you, who believe different than you. This is an invitation, an advertising campaign to ignore bigotry, to ignore intolerance, to ignore the hatred of those who are different than ourselves. It's what it is. I'm going to play this clip from Fox News, about a minute and a half or so, from Outnumbered, where this group of clowns is talking about this particular ad, and it goes exactly as you would say or think, off the rails.
Tear down and certainly have the freedom of expression to put them out in the wide open as we should.
Amen. Julie, part of the campaign, as I sort of touched on earlier, it's part of an effort to shift people away from a negative public perception of Christians and toward Jesus. Now, my issue in part is with this backlash is that it's been stoked by the media that has somehow, as Chris mentioned, aired toward this public acceptance of mocking and derision towards Christians and those of the Judeo-Christian faith. NPR wrote, it, meaning this whole campaign. It means a lot more people will probably be sending out confused tweets about a, quote, Jesus commercial, a search term on Twitter that was already flooded and aired during the Grammy Awards they were referencing. So here's NPR, National Public Radio, upon which many depend for being, quote, neutral and objective, that is anything but in something that is fundamental to so many of our lives.
First of all, the NPR could not be further bipartisan. They're obviously a liberal outlet, but no, this country actually does need to find Jesus. The hate in this country is just so awful. I mean, it's at really honestly a most all-time high, the extreme left and the extreme right, and I'm not talking about one side or the other, because anytime that I meet someone who's politically extreme or an extremist, that does derive from a place of hate. Jesus teaches us to love thy neighbor, to love one another. And so I do believe that this country needs to find Jesus. And I think that this country is also very anti-American. So why would they not be anti-God? Because in the Pledge of Allegiance, we pledge allegiance to the flag. We also pledge allegiance to our God. And I don't care if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, it doesn't matter. People do need God in their life. Hopefully that will derive, and maybe perhaps lead our country into a more peaceful place. Because look at where we are now. It's not good.
There's a lot of nonsense there. Let's address a couple things. She's saying that America is anti-America. Julie Banderas, Fox News anchor, is saying that. She's saying that the hate in this country is awful. An employee of Fox News, an anchor on their network, is saying that the hate in this country, where does it come from? It's so awful. While saying that everybody needs to find Jesus. Apparently Jews need to find Jesus. Muslims need to find Jesus. Sikhs and Buddhists and whatever particular faith tradition you practice, even if you practice none, you need to find Jesus. That in itself, I think, is a divisive message. So listen, this entire campaign, do not be swept away. Follow the money. Who's leading this? Who's pushing this? This is not some harmless, altruistic message, because the people who are behind it are fueling divisiveness. They're fueling hatred. They're fueling bigotry, and they're promoting it within their companies on a daily basis. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. When you get done calling or emailing, you can follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore just about everywhere. And if you appreciate what I do and you want to help contribute to my work, you can click the join button below, become a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month, or you can go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I'm happy to be back after having been sick most of last week. I'm doing something different with the microphone until I can get the acoustics in the new studio set up in a way that is not so echoey. And these dynamic microphones do a lot better job than the little condenser lavalier microphone. Anyway, I love you guys. I will see you next time. Until I do, be genuine and take care of one another.